Hello YouTube viewers, this is Bourbon Reviews. My name's Randy Barelich. This is my first ever bourbon review. I'm going to be coming out with a ton more of these real soon, and all of them have the motivation of finding a replacement for my favorite liquor on the planet Earth, known as Pappy Van Winkle 23 year. The reason I'm looking for a replacement for that stuff, in case you don't know, it's really hard to find and it's outrageously expensive. It's $240 plus a bottle after tax. It's really hard to find. It's actually easier to find than the 15 or the 20-year stuff, but in my opinion, it's better. I've never had anything as good as Pappy 23, and what separates it from all the other high-end bourbons that I've tasted is all the high-end bourbons do a great job of giving you that caramel vanilla flavor first and foremost. But what Pappy does better than anything is it takes that disgusting alcohol heat, that heat alcohol flavor that you get from poorly made liquors, and it does what every bourbon is trying to do, and it turns it into this really awesome cinnamon, this intense cinnamon flavor. And when that combines with the caramel and vanilla, it just makes Pappy what it is. And so that's what I'm looking for in a replacement bourbon. What I'm also looking for is something that's not $240 a bottle, and if I'm lucky, maybe something I could find a little more frequently. I can't really, well, before I get into anything about this guy right here, I want to give a shout out to Jason Pyle with Sour Mash Manifesto. His reviews are excellent. In case you haven't seen any of them, he reviews a ton of bourbons, and I'm going to avoid reviewing what he's already done because I agree with everything he says. The only real difference between our opinions is that I'm not as nice as he is to some of the stuff that I don't like. Being that said, let's go ahead and jump right into this guy right here. This is vintage bourbon. It's 17 years old. It comes from the Kentucky Vintage Bourbon Company out of Bardstown, Kentucky. I've tried to do some research online about what it's all about. It's really, there's not a lot on it. My understanding is it's the highest grade bourbon that this company has. They have Noah's Hill and Pure Kentucky XO along with a couple other ones. I've never tried those. It's $65 a bottle where I got it. I'm in Connecticut. What I do to try to find high-grade stuff, or high-level bourbons, is I call every liquor store in a 100-mile radius of where I'm at, and I travel a lot for significant periods of time. So I've had a lot of experience in the Hartford, within a 100-mile radius of Hartford, trying to find rare stuff. And in the Northeast, there's not really a lot, but there's one place I found that has a lot of really good rare stuff. And so I heard about this and went and picked up a bottle. 65 bucks. Let's go ahead and find out whether it tastes good or not. So first, let's start out with the color. I don't know how well that camera is showing you, but it's, as far as light to dark is concerned, it's right in the middle of the road compared to the other high-end stuff I've had. Color's pretty irrelevant to me. It's an aesthetic thing, so I guess it adds a little bit of value, but no big deal. What matters to me is how it smells and how it tastes, so let's get into that. I do it two ways. The first thing I do is I put my nose over it and breathe through my mouth, and then if it's not too intense, I just stick my nose in it and take a whiff. And actually, what I like about this stuff even more than Pappy, and before I even tell you what that is, I'm going to have to say that it's hard for me to admit that, is that if you stuck your nose in Pappy and breathe in real deep, it would knock you off your feet and you'd be smelling alcohol for the rest of the day. This stuff doesn't do that. It actually, what it overwhelms you with if you take a deep breath is oak, which is okay with me in the profile of the scent, as long as it doesn't overwhelm me with oak in the flavor of the taste. So what you get from it with a moderate breath is you get a vanilla scent, an intense vanilla scent, a little caramel, a very, very light hint of spice, and then again oak. So let's go ahead and taste it. Man, that is some good shit right there. It makes you feel warm. It warms your mouth. Let me just go ahead and do it this way. I'll compare it to Pappy. It takes a little bit longer for the flavor to develop, which is okay because it gets there. It doesn't ever quite make it to Pappy. It doesn't peak the way Pappy peaks. And the real advantage to Pappy here is that Pappy peaks immediately, and it just it's a peak throughout the entire taste. It never really dies down until the very end. This stuff actually scares you a little bit if you haven't had it before, because it's similar at the beginning to the lower end bourbons, where if you tasted something like Maker's Mark and it first hits your tongue, there's not a lot there, and it ends up not really developing into a lot either. This stuff at the beginning has that element to it where it hits your tongue and you're like, well, okay, is there really anything here? And then it just develops immediately after that point into this, what you would consider a delicious high-end bourbon. It avoids going down the oak road of flavors, and it stays on the spicy caramel side of things, which is a definite plus for me. On my scale, just to give you perspective, Pappy is a 10 out of 10, Pappy 23, and Maker's Mark I give a 1. I cannot stand Maker's Mark. This stuff is a 9.8. It is amazing. For $65, I'm going to buy this again, no doubt. I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Thanks for spending time with me. Look forward to the future videos coming out real soon. Have a good one.